The Golden State Warriors have been struggling big time this year, and with two of their best players out with injuries right now, things are bound to go from bad to worse. That's left everyone wondering, are the Warriors going to keep fighting for a playoff spot, or should they just give up for now and tank for Victor Wembanyama? So in this video, we're looking at Golden State's chances of landing the Frenchman. But first, a reminder about our brand new giveaway. We're giving away a PS5 with a copy of NBA 2022 and Madden 22. All you have to do is watch the full video, leave a like, comment the keyword hidden in the video, and make sure you're subscribed. It's that simple. Starting off, the Warriors front office has an important decision to make. Now that the dreaded injury bugs hit both Curry and Wiggs, Golden State finds itself in a tough spot. There's still a lot of time before both athletes can rejoin the team, but that's worrying because the Warriors are already 11th in the West with a disappointing record of 15-17. As negative as it sounds, that record will only get worse because the Dubs haven't been looking good without Stephen Andrews so far. But the Warriors have the rights to their 2023 first-round pick. If they finish the season with a horrible record and don't even qualify for the play-in, the Dubs have a solid chance of drafting Victor next year, thereby adding him to their already amazing roster. The only issue is that we're sure the squad and the front office want to try their best until the campaign's last game. There are still 50 games left for Golden State to play this season, and giving up just goes against everything they stand for. If the Warriors want to make a run for the play-in or playoffs, they need to go 33-17 in their next 50 games, and to be honest, that doesn't seem like it's going to happen. So San Francisco Chronicle's Connor Letourneau believes the Dubs should call it a season and tank for Wemby. Next up, which option is better? To be honest, we feel like there's way more to be gained from tanking for Victor than from trying to make a run for the playoffs. Sure, that sounds defeatist, but if we look at things in the long run, it's what's best for the Warriors. Look at it this way, the Warriors aren't the same team they were last year when they won it all, and at this point, no one believes Golden State can go back-to-back. They can try to have an insane run from January to April and fight for a playoff spot, but if they're just going to be sent home without doing much damage, what's the point of all that? Tanking for Wembanyama, instead, is going to be a far better choice, because then, in the next season, they'll have a healthy core of Curry, Clay, Poole, Wiggs, and Looney locked in, and if they add the most talented prospect since LeBron on their squad, then not only will they be able to contend for a title next year, but their future will also be in excellent hands. The Warriors are full of young, talented athletes like Poole and Wiseman, so if you add a stud like Victor to the squad, the team will remain on top even when Curry and Clay retire. Though the league's aiming to become more strict regarding teams that employ race-to-the-bottom tactics, Golden State's front office will need to be clever about how they handle the situation if they do decide to tank. Moving on, what's Steve Kerr's thought process on that situation? As you would have guessed, Kerr refuses to let up, and he's placing full faith in the roster. According to Coach Kerr, the team needs to play smart basketball right now, and instead of trying to do more, they need to do a bit less. When Steve explained what he meant by this, he talked about how some of the players try too hard at times when there's no need to. For example, the team will be having an amazing stretch, but then the guys decide to take 3 difficult shots in a row, which just ruins the flow of things. As far as Kerr's concerned, nobody's role changes too much with Curry's absence, but he really wants to see a change in the players' decision-making by sticking to the fundamentals. Steve finished by saying that while he loves the squad and knows what they're capable of, they'll only be able to thrive once they slow the game down and make the right plays. While it's great to hear that Kerr's backing his guys, the league's too competitive for their current squad to achieve much, as long as Steph and two-way Wiggs are out with injuries. Now, let's look at what other teams have a chance at drafting the Frenchman. First up, we have the Pelicans at 6. The Zion-led Pelicans are doing great things this year, but thanks to the Anthony Davis trade in 2019, they currently hold LA's 2023 first-round pick. And luckily for New Orleans, the Lakers have been down in the dumps for most of this season. They're currently 12th in the West with a record of 13-17, and with AD out with a serious injury, they're probably going to be stuck in this spot till the end of the season. It seems unlikely that the Lakers will end up with a particularly good record, but if LeBron activates God mode, LA might just make it to the play-in or even the playoffs. If that happens, the Pelicans can kiss their dreams of drafting Wemby goodbye, but if the Lakers keep playing like garbage, New Orleans might just be able to have Victor and Zion playing side by side. While that would put a huge smile on the faces of Pelicans supporters, we think everyone else would be furious because the team's already so stacked. Following that, we have the Oklahoma City Thunder at number 5. OKC's full of young players, and they're all really talented, but the thing is, they're not experienced enough as of now. Sure, Shai's been having the season of his life, but that clearly hasn't translated into wins, as OKC finds itself with a record of 13-18, which is good for 13th in the West. With how things are going for the team so far, it's hard to see them even reaching the 30-win mark, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because it brings them closer to the possibility of drafting Wemby. The team's really young right now, and they have their whole future ahead of them, so if they add another super skilled prospect next year, OKC will beat everyone once everyone on the squad fully develops. Though the Thunder are on a 2-game win streak, and if Shai keeps balling straight out of his mind, Oklahoma might miss out on the French sensation. Moving on, we have the Spurs at number 4. The Spurs are in rebuild mode, and even though guys like Devin Vassell and Keldon Johnson have been great, they have a terrible record of 10-20. They're 14th in the West, and honestly, we don't see them winning more than 30 games this season. Coach Pop may be used to winning, but he knows that's impossible with this current San Antonio squad, so the fewer wins they get, the better. The team would benefit big time from landing Wembanyama because he'd give them some much-needed offensive and defensive firepower. Plus, he'd give the franchise way more media attention than it usually gets since it's a small-market team. We don't see the Spurs having a chance at even making the play-in this season, so it's quite likely they'll be able to land the Frenchman. Now for number 3, we have the Magic. Even though Orlando has some promising players on their squad, like Paolo Banchero and Bol, they're currently 13th in the Eastern Conference, with 11 wins and 21 losses. Also, in spite of the fact that it's not a nice feeling to be one of the worst teams in the league, at least the organization and their fans have the opportunity to add a generational talent to their roster because of it. Victor would be great on any team, but it'd be even crazier to see him be part of this Magic squad. They already have the tallest starting 5 in the entire league, with Paolo, Bol, and the Wagner brothers leading the charge, so just imagine adding a 7'3" Wembanyama to the squad. Right now, it seems like that might happen, and if it does, Orlando will be unbeatable for many years. The possibility of Victor joining Orlando's team is especially exciting due to the fact that Bol shares similar physical attributes and playing style with the 18-year-old. If both players are on the court at the same time, it could spell trouble for the rest of the league. Then at number 2, we have the Rockets. Houston's currently last in the West with a record of 9-21, but with how inexperienced their squad is, that's not surprising. This will be another long season for the Rockets, and while it may be tough to witness for the fans, they should keep reminding themselves that with each loss, they come closer to the reality of drafting the 18-year-old. Imagine Victor playing alongside dudes like Jabari Smith Jr., Şengün, Kevin Porter Jr., and Jalen Green. It would be a sight for sore eyes. Much like the Magic, if the Rockets get their hands on Wemby, then they'll be the team to beat in a few years. Finally, we have the Pistons at number 1. With a record of 8-25, the Pistons have the worst record in the league. Detroit was struggling, but they've been especially disappointing since Cade Cunningham got injured. Their defense is horrible, and so is their offense. Sure, they have some lucky wins under their belt, but that doesn't take away from the fact that the Pistons are the worst team in the league this year, though it's not an unfamiliar feeling for the franchise. They can be great in a few years, but as things stand, the odds are in their favor regarding landing Wemby, especially if they keep losing so many games. Detroit desperately needs a dude like Victor to join the team because he'd give the team valuable contributions on both ends of the floor while drawing more attention to the franchise. That's a wrap for this video. Do you guys think Golden State should tank for Wemby or make a run for the playoffs? Let us know in the comments below. As always, remember to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.